I think the thing that is striking on the sort of transhumanist versus Christian thing is how similar they are. And so I think you can sort of point to metaphysical differences, but the thing that sort of is always striking is you're going to have a transformed body. There's going to be this radical transformation of the way everything works. There will be no more random freak accidents that happen to kill you. And so I think it's actually the similarities that are striking, and then one shouldn't try to overlay some metaphysical difference.
And is this not because, I mean, a lot of early science, and by early science I don't mean the Greeks or the Egyptians, I mean early modern science in the 16th, 17th century, grew out of a Christian celebration of the goodness of creation. And the old phrase used to be that science was thinking God's thoughts after him, and it wasn't science or religion, it was science grew out of a Christian faith, a Christian exploration. But what's happened since, and again particularly since the Enlightenment, is, and this has happened on several issues. I mean, the previous Pope said in a speech at the United Nations that with regard to human rights, what's happened since the 18th century is that human rights, which really grew out of a Christian vision of what it meant to be human, how you should treat your neighbor, etc., that's been cut off from its Christian roots, and it's now been made into a kind of independent, freestanding entity, which then is getting you into all sorts of areas where every possible pressure group claims this is my right, these are our rights, and it's impossible to get past the shouting match between these competing rights because we've cut it off from its roots. Might it not be possible that the same thing has happened with science, that science, having grown out of a faith-based exploration of the world, Jewish and Christian and Muslim actually, because if you're a creational monotheist, there is always this sense of delight and exploration in creation. But then when science cuts itself off from that, kicks God upstairs and says, we now have this progress thing which is just taking us where we need to go. So then you get the archetypal mad scientist or the Frankenstein maker or whatever, because, as with the modern confusion about rights, it's been cut off from its original roots. Would there be, if that's, A, is that the right analysis? And B, if that's so, would it be healthy to explore ways of putting science and Christian faith back together again, not by going back to the 17th century, but by going on to a different way of conceiving it?